the debut of Half Horse Tarot. I am here with your August 2018 free general reading. I'm going to go ahead and leave some information for you guys in the description box below that gives you a little bit more information about tarot readings online generally, and also kind of a little bit more about how I do my readings so you know what to expect from what you see. I want to go ahead and get started on your reading right away because there are a lot of different storylines kind of coming through. So this might seem a little bit disjointed at first, but I will try to do my best to tie everything together for you guys in a way that you'll be able to understand what I'm talking about. So to start off, your central issue for the month is guidance in reverse. And this card in this particular deck is the equivalent to the Hierophant in the traditional tarot. I'll show you the card in the upright. You see the Buddha and the Sphinx and all of these colors in the background. In the upright, you know, the Hierophant kind of symbolizes hierarchy, organizational structure, tradition, possibly even a spiritual guru, and I don't necessarily get that particular vibe from this card. I think for a lot of you guys, it's going to be more about breaking away from tradition or breaking away from organizational, hierarchical bonds that have been in the past a little bit restrictive for you, and kind of going off on your own to pursue something a little more off of the beaten path. So in your distant past, we have the Nine of Orbs in reverse, which is this deck's version of the Nine of Swords in reverse. And in the upright, you know, it's a similar imagery. You have the female here surrounded by all of the orbs down here in this little gully or ditch, and she's just kind of feeling trapped and tormented, even though, you know, you have the sun up there in the background, and basically things aren't as bad as she seems to believe that they are. And that may have been how you might have felt at one time. But with this card being in the reverse, I generally prefer it this way because to me it says, you know, you're kind of letting go of those mental shackles that have been tormenting you, and you're releasing all of that fear and that kind of nightmare mentality, and you're beginning to see the light. These orbs or swords are falling away, and you're beginning to open up your mind to the possibilities that are out there. So I think that a lot of you have let go of some limiting mental processes that have been holding you back in the past, and that's fantastic. In the more recent past, we have the Eight of Crystals in the upright, and this is the sex version of the Eight of Pentacles. So I don't have the Seven of Crystals out, but I do think it's relevant because this tower is also in the background of the Seven, and the individual is not this close to the tower. He's further off with his crystals. But in the Eight, you know, he's made his way to the steps. So everything, these seeds that he's sown, these crystals that he's been, you know, amassing, he's finally to the point now where he's starting to put in the work. You know, he's reaping what he's sown, and he is kind of beginning to branch off on his own. For some of you guys, this might be an internship, an apprenticeship. Maybe you've started off at an entry-level job. Maybe you were scared you weren't going to get this job opportunity, or that it wouldn't be right for you. But I think that ultimately it's a positive thing, and I think it's going to work out for you guys. I do also think that maybe some of you guys are branching out and starting your own business venture, and it's kind of in the initial stages where you're really having to put in the work. You know, even though we're at the 8, it's a little bit reminiscent of the 3 to me because you're not quite there. You know, you haven't quite reached that peak, and so you're just really trying to get things up and running. And I think that, you're making positive movement forward. Maybe this job isn't necessarily something that's traditional. Maybe it's not something that has an organizational hierarchy. So maybe, you're starting off with like a small business or as an entrepreneur. And but ultimately I think it's positive for you because I think you feel a little bit more free to express yourself, to do the things that you want to do. And so I think that's great. If this doesn't apply to a job for you, maybe this applies to a personal relationship, where there was this fear-based element in the past, and now you've kind of put yourself out there. You started putting in the work to, either find a relationship or develop the relationship that you're currently in. You're putting in the work and you're putting in the effort. And I think it's going to be positive for you. If it is a relationship, again, it may not be a traditional relationship, whatever that may mean for you. I don't know if that means it's a same-sex relationship, a polyamorous thing. It could be a lot of different ways that manifests. So just kind of apply that to your situation as you will. So the way I read this spread is, going back to the energy that's kind of presently working its way through the month. Everything above your central issue is, it's kind of like external influences. So these may be things that are being done to you by other people. These may be things that spirit is doing, but, it's not necessarily stuff that you have control over. It can also be things that are going on in your mind. So up at the very top here, we have the Indigo card, which is this deck's version of the Magician. You see the child here holding the crystal, and I think it's just this kind of a reminder that you have all of the tools that you need to do whatever it is you want to do, whether it is, develop this new relationship or this new business venture. You definitely have the ability to make it work. I think you guys are confident in your skills, in yourself, in the opportunities that you have lying ahead, in this new path that you guys are on. And I do think that the universe is going to kind of help you guys out and guide you along the way. So it's really great, really positive energy for you guys. We also have the Master of Flames above you, and this is the deck's version of the King of Wands. And this can obviously represent a person. If so, it could be male or female, but their sun sign, moon sign, or rising sign would likely be a fire sign, which is Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. So if that resonates with you, if you're in a relationship or business venture with this person, that may make sense. I am getting a very specific storyline regarding this person, and I'll get into that in a moment. But this is definitely positive energy. The people cards don't always have to be people. This could be just energetics, reaching that peak of passion, reaching that peak of creativity. You're at the culmination point of this new, physical path that you're on. You're kind of like an expert now. So whatever it is that's on your mind in terms of something that really, sets your soul on fire and gets you revved up, you definitely are a master at whatever this is, and you come into this either business venture, and I'm getting business and work for most of you guys, but if it is a relationship, I think you kind of know what you want, and you're gonna pursue that person that you're passionate about, and you believe that you're going to be able to get them and make something work. And I think that for the most part, that's going to be the case, if it is a personal relationship. Everything beneath your central issue is your foundation. So it's kind of like what you're bringing into the month, what you already know to be true, or what is in your control or going to be in your control. And we have the Sage of Orbs here, which is this deck's version of the Queen of Swords. And this card is interesting. It can represent a person. Because we have her male counterpart, this would be the female. So for some of you guys, if you are female, this might be your energy. Kind of being strategic, being diplomatic, communicative, wise. Maybe you are trying to weigh up your options, figure out what it is that you're passionate about in life, let go, cut through, use that sword to cut through some of the fear and things that have been holding you back, and just really be resolute. You take no nonsense from anybody, and you just move forward on your path with pride, and nobody's gonna get in your way or stop you. They definitely don't want to mess with you. If this is somebody in your life, then they may be an air sign, and that would be Aquarius, Libra, or Gemini. You could be coupled to this person. We do have the Lovers card here. But it doesn't have to necessarily be the case. But this would be somebody who you know, and who you have a close relationship with. They could even be a business partner if you do decide to take off on your new entrepreneurial venture. And beneath them we have the Lovers card, which is traditionally Gemini. So, definitely going back to this air sign quality, Gemini may be important for you guys. The Lovers can represent, a very blessed union. If this is a relationship, it's definitely going to be a positive one. It's mirrored by the Magician up here, so it could be a little bit newer. You might be going on a new path with this person, but I definitely think, you guys would be putting in the effort to make things work. This could also be with the male counterpart of the air signs, possibly again a Gemini. So if those signs make sense for you, then that's great. If not, then they may just embody the quality of air signs for some of you guys. Ultimately, this is positive. If this is, another relationship or a partnership or a cooperative venture, and you're involved with this Sage of Orbs, or even the Master of Flames, whatever it may be, both individuals are showing up as positive people. And if it is your own energy, then I think you're going to really embody the decisiveness that comes with that Sage of Orbs and with the Lovers card, which can be about making decisions that are really, really important. So it's really great energy for you guys, even coming into the month, and then also sort of presently what you're working with and what is being offered up to you by the universe. So in your near future, we have the Master of Orbs. Again, this is the King of Swords in the traditional tarot. This guy, it's kind of hard to see his face, but he does look a little stern and a little severe. But I don't really think that it's negative energy. I think that he sees things with a very clear mind. I think he's very precise in what he wants, the way he communicates. This may be somebody that you are coupled with again. So if it is a relationship or a business partnership, this individual, and this would be the male version, he's equally strong. He may be again helping you get started in this new venture that you're going through. And I think he will have additional tools for you to be able to utilize up here, on your path moving forward. So it definitely seems to be a very positive energy. If you don't know who this person is, they may be coming in because they do show up in the near future position. And then in the distant future, more toward the end of the month, we have the Sage of Crystals in reverse, which is the deck's equivalent of the Queen of Pentacles. I'll show you her in the upright. This could be your energy, Taurus, an earth sign, or this could be another Taurus, Capricorn, or Virgo. I do think for a lot of you, this might be your energy. You could be feeling a little bit out of sorts at the end of the month, which, isn't negative. It makes sense if you do have all these changes going on. If you are hopping into a new business venture, maybe you're a little bit concerned about how things are going to be working out financially. Maybe even take a little bit of a financial hit and aren't as strong and secure in your material world as you normally would be. And then I do really want to quickly touch on this one specific storyline, that I am seeing. I do think that some of you guys either are trying to get pregnant, or you're considering potentially getting pregnant. I don't think that it's necessarily happened for all of you guys, and I don't think it's going to happen for all of you guys this month. However, fertility is definitely on the table. I'll get into this card in a moment, but this is the rabbit card and it is fertility. We do have the abundance card here for your overall energy, which is this deck's equivalent of the Empress, and she is in the upright. So there's definitely certain cards that point to fertility. Even the Lovers card down here, they're really kind of sexually intertwined with one another. So you could be trying to get pregnant. I do think that with the Sage of Crystals being in reverse, if that's your partner and they're an earth sign, or you're the female earth sign, that there might be some issues with fertility. Like maybe it's just not connecting necessarily this month, but the fertility is definitely there. Others of you who might have been struggling with fertility for a long while now, and maybe that's kind of the source of this Nine of Orbs fear and mental torture you had in the past. In some cases, the Nine of Swords even represents miscarriage. Hopefully none of you guys have been through that, but if so, that could be kind of where you're coming from. I think that some of you guys might turn to an alternative method of getting pregnant. And I say that because you have the Indigo card up top. That's a child, but it is, traditionally the Magician card of the tarot deck. And then you have this Master of Flames, the King of Wands, who is kind of reminiscent to me in this particular deck of a medicine man or a doctor, a healer, somebody with a particular skill set, and with the flame suit being kind of sexual, about the physical. They may be a doctor, and you may be doing something like getting IVF or doing fertility treatments, something to boost your odds of getting pregnant, or even just consulting with a doctor about how to figure out your cycles so that you can pin down your ovulation and make that a reality for you guys. So that's obviously going to be for people who are actively trying to get pregnant or are contemplating, starting that process of trying to conceive. It's not really like a surprise pregnancy that pops out of nowhere, but because, I do see some cards here that can symbolize fertility, I did just want to bring that up. So I also have these oracle cards here for you guys. And I kind of use these to interpret the past and future energies that you guys have been bringing into the month and will kind of bring throughout the month as you go along. So for your past energy, we have the orangutan or the man of the forest. And this card, in the deck, it kind of represents somebody who speaks out on behalf of wildlife and animals and nature and really takes a stand, kind of like the Lorax from Dr. Seuss. I don't necessarily think that a lot of you guys it's going to be relevant unless you do happen to be starting a new business that does kind of do that sort of advocacy work. Maybe you do work with animals. It doesn't have to be in a forest, but it could be anything from renewing the environment to cleaning up trash in the oceans, or even working at an animal shelter, starting your own animal rescue, whatever it may be. It can be kind of taking a stand for the environment and for the stewardship that we have in that respect. It can also be just kind of becoming more connected with nature, and not necessarily just the nature around you, like the trees and the sky and stuff, but your own natural self, your own natural well-being, and just becoming a lot more in tune with who you are and your cycles. And this is especially relevant if what I said about the pregnancy and trying to conceive bit is if that does pertain to you. So in the past, just kind of trying to be more conscientious of your own natural self in terms of your health and just generally your well-being. So apply that message as you will. That's kind of a difficult message to apply to the reading. But your future energy moving forward here, we have the rabbit, which is fertility. I showed that to you guys earlier. The rabbit kind of shows up again when people need to recognize the cycles that they are going through. And this can again be a physical cycle, you know, your menstrual cycle, your ovulation cycle, you know, if you are trying to get pregnant. But it can also even just be the cycles that we go through throughout life. You know, everything starts, there is a birth, there is growth, there is death and rebirth and so on. And everything in life is cyclic. And just being able to keep that in mind, like maybe you are ending something and starting something new. And this is just another cycle. It's just, you know, another path that you're going on. And I think that with this abundance card or the Empress here, that for a lot of you guys, it's going to be a fruitful path and a fruitful step forward. And I think that if you are aware of, you know, these cycles that you are going through, whether that's physically or metaphorically, and your connection to other people, maybe even animals, again, however that may apply to you, if you become more aware of that, then I think a lot of your relationships are going to deepen and become more satisfying. I also think that those of you who are trying to conceive are eventually going to do so. You just may need to pin down, again, your cycles and make sure that all of that is good to go before you are able to actually, you know, make all of that connect and make that work. But overall, it seems to be really positive. Just to kind of summarize again, I do think a lot of you guys are going to be breaking away from this traditional path that you were on. You may be doing something that kind of goes against the grain, whether that be in business or in a relationship. But I do think it's going to be positive. I think it's going to be freeing for you guys. If there is a new relationship on the horizon, with an air sign especially, I think that's going to work out well. Fire signs show up pretty positive too. Same thing for a business venture. If you're getting involved with one of those individuals, toward the end of the month, you guys might be a little bit out of sorts yourself, but I don't really think that's a bad thing. I think that once you sort everything out regarding, you know, just how you want to move forward, I think you're going to be able to get in a much more stable place, even if that means, you know, you might be taking a little bit of a hit to your finances. Like I said, if you are starting that new business venture, you might be starting off a little slow. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, like the rabbit says, everything exists in a cycle. You know, just got to wait for that to pick up. But ultimately, it seems really positive, and I'm really excited for you guys for this month. If any of this resonated with you, please go ahead and let me know in the comments. I would love to hear from you guys. Also, if you liked the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, share, subscribe to the channel. I do plan on doing a mid-month update for you guys this month to kind of expand on this reading, maybe connect to some of you guys with whom this particular reading might not have resonated. It'll be a shorter reading, so do make sure that you check back in the middle of the month for that. And yeah, like I said, I would love to hear from you guys, and I would you know, really appreciate if you could help me out with a little bit of a thumbs up and supporting this channel so I can go ahead and get it off the ground and devote more time to this and make more videos for you guys. So thank you for letting me do your reading, and I hope this resonated. I will see you guys in the middle of the month.